Masters week, let's go. We're going down Magnolia Lane virtually here. Well, we can all think about it in our heads, but this is one of the best weeks of the golf year coming back to Augusta. And we have Andrew Shepard joining us this week. He is a broadcast spotter for the PGA Championship. So before we kind of get into the Texas Open and the Masters preview, Andrew, just give us a little bit of a taste of what you do as a broadcast spotter.
Yeah. So as being on the broadcast for ESPN, I started out back in 2022, the PGA Championship in Southern Hills, where I grew up in that area, in the Tulsa area here in Oklahoma. And so I've been a spotter for OU football radio now for quite a while. And I was just trying to expand my horizon because I'm a big golf enthusiast. Loved the game, grew up playing, played a little bit in college, and just trying to see how I could parlay my OU football radio gig into the realm of golf. And so I knew how broadcasts worked, where they have spotters who are with their on-course analysts who give the numbers for approach shots after drives. And so I reached out to the right people with ESPN, and they got me on board. And I started that 22 PGA at Southern Hills with the Justin Thomas winning that one in the playoff, which was crazy awesome finish right there. And then every year I've worked and had that gig, and so it's been great just walking inside the ropes with a ton of great groups, pairings, top golfers in the world, and just seeing how they operate and everything, them and their caddies and everything that goes along with it is pretty cool. So yeah.
What's been a top moment for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've had a lot of stories that have come through during my times working now four PGAs, coming up on my fifth next month at Aronimink. One of the things that I can recall for me that was just really neat, it was the story at Oak Hill, and it was the block party. It was, of all the things you might think I'm going to talk about someone else, like a regular, top player or anything like that. But in that, it was 23, yes, 23 at Oak Hill, that PGA, to where it was Koepka who won that. So the storyline that weekend wasn't necessarily your top guys or anything like that. It was Michael Block, a PGA professional, and that's what the cool thing about the PGA Championship is, seeing all the people who help folks all across the nation, develop their and grow their game and get better and everything like that. And to see them in the tournament with all these other top golfers is really cool. And for them to have the opportunity was really neat. So my thing with Michael Block. So we know, like, toward that weekend, Block was playing really well and everything like that. Everyone was learning about him and all that. He gets paired up with Rory, which shocks him and everything. And so for me, I was in the group. I was in the group that was just behind him, like he was in front of me. And I believe, I'm trying to remember the group. I think it was Justin Rose, and I think it was Scheffler. And so um, I'm on number. I'm trying to remember the hole, but it was on the backside, where my Block hit the hole in one,
Oh, wow.
and everything. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I didn't see that happen because I was on the green behind it, and Justin Rose hit a drive. He hooked it way left, and now we were trying to find it. I was trying to help him find the ball. And so I was over there, and then all of a sudden, look, try to find it and everything. We did. And then all of a sudden, I hear this massive roar, and I was like, that's probably Roy, like he hit it close or something like that. And I walk up to the tee and everything, and I ask someone up there, I think was CBS, what happened, and he was like, Block just hit an ace. I was like, you've got to be kidding me right now. And that was the same reaction Block had, because initially he didn't know or couldn't see or whatnot. And so it was just amazing to see that. Well, that happens, and then later on, I'm trying to remember whether that was the third or the final round or whatnot. I think it was the final round, but
Final round, yeah.
yeah. But later on at the 18th green or whatnot, he makes this ridiculous
Up and down.
and so I was behind it. So I was able to see him make, like, I was getting the yardages for my group for Rose and Scheffler or whatnot. And so I was in the middle of the fairway, and I was just looking at Block, who I just saw he was just dead on the left, and just makes this amazing shot. Crowd grandstands go crazy or whatnot, puts it to like 7 feet. And of course he makes it, like, of course, and give him a big round of applause there. But I was sitting there in the middle of the fairway getting yardages, but I just stood there and just watched him make that. And that was really neat. That was something that I just take away as something really cool, being the PGA Championship, PGA pros trying to do their thing and make a run in a major, which is really cool. So that's one of the stories.
Yeah, and that got him into the following year in the tournament.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. I mean, he hit it straight into the hole. It didn't even land. It was like a hoop, like a basketball shot. Nobody could believe it. He couldn't even believe it. And that was more beautiful than Brooks winning, to be honest. Like, it was so great.
It's just one of those feel-good storylines, that comes out of something like that, as big of a tournament as that is, and of course Koepka went on to win and everything like that, but Block sort of stole the hearts of folks, with that amazing run that he had. So
yeah, people outside of golf don't understand that there's a difference between tour players and like PGA pros, like club pros. And these club pros, they're great players, but they don't practice as much. They need to be like managing the course. And for players like Block to play so well, like even without practicing so much, is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could, I'll fit in another one quickly. John Rahm. So this was a story that I'll have this for quite a while, that I've told folks. But he was paired with Cam Smith. This was at it was Oak Hill. Yeah, it was Oak Hill again, 23. He hits a drive right on number 7, I believe it is, at Oak Hill. And we were out there covering him, and so I see his drive. It hits a tree, goes over the fence, and everything. Cam Smith hit his perfect right down the middle. And so whenever I saw that and everything, and there's not a whole lot of folks out there like underneath the trees or anything like that that saw this and whatnot. So I tell Andy North, who I'm with, that like it hit the tree and went over. And so we went out, like, after I saw it and after they hit their drive, I come out and sort of point and wave that it hit the tree, went over the fence, and that he needs to hit another one. But I guess he didn't see it or somehow, and he kept walking, to check on the drive or whatnot. Well, he comes out toward the right and everything, and he's already having a bad round. And so with Jon Rahm and his temperament and everything like that, he is hot. And so North was like, you can go tell him. I'm not gonna tell, just putting me out there to try to go say hey and to make him more upset. at the result. So I was like, well, I'll do it. So I go out there, I tell him and his caddy what I saw and everything like that. Then he tells me, why didn't you signal or anything or tell us? And I was like, we did. Like, I was out there, I was waving, and I guess he didn't see, or he was just too upset or whatnot. So, but he during that tournament though, he lashes out at a cameraman who got close to him or whatnot. And you can search this or whatnot, but he lashes out as a cameraman, and I'm right next to him, telling him this story about his drive. And so he lashes out as a cameraman during that time. He's hot. And so eventually so the fence line wasn't, it was a tournament fence. And so it wasn't like the full, I guess, course fence or whatnot. So he was able to actually get free relief out of that and drop. And I think he ended up making bogey out of that, because he had to hit through some trees and just didn't make it up and down, I think, or whatnot. And so the rest of the round, he sort of, gave me a look for no particular reason except for just telling him, hey man, like, so yeah, that's one of the stories that take away from there.
Yeah, that reminds me. Once I talked with an USGA official, like a rules official, and he was at the Masters at the 12th hole, and Tiger hit it in the water, and so they asked for an official to see where was the drop point, and obviously he didn't want to go with Tiger. He was like intimidated by him, and his friends told him that he took like 1 hour to get there, like walking, because he didn't want to get there.
Yeah,
Andrew, you mentioned Andy North singling you out there a little bit. You have any great Andy North stories? Because we know how long he's been a broadcaster and how much of a legend he is in the golf broadcast game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've known Andy for quite a long time, and just how good he is just on the broadcast for ESPN, whether it be on the course, in the studio or whatnot during Masters Week or PGA or whatnot. So yeah, he's a tremendous guy, and so my stories with him, at first, he's when you don't know someone and you're trying to build trust of, getting these yardages and everything in time to make sure that your call is accurate and stuff like that. At first it was a little rough around the edges, I would say, but over time we built a great rapport together. And whenever you're doing your job correctly, it makes his job better. And so, doing that, it's been great to catch up with him. But yeah, two-time U.S. Open champion, knows his way around the course, very knowledgeable, and everything. And yeah, he's been a great guy to work with. And now recently he's moved into more of a inside in a studio role or whatnot. Like, he's on site, but he's not walking the course anymore. Over the last couple of years, he recently had hip surgery, and so getting up in his age and everything like that, it's a little bit of a struggle. But he's very durable. I've seen him walk a lot, and he just likes to get around. He loves his job. He's just a great guy to work with. So now with Andy, him being more of a studio side or whatnot, I just sit in and watch him do his thing there and talk about assess rounds or whatnot, or preview everything with the tournament coming up and all that. And you see all that coverage on ESPN and everything. And a lot of the times I'm over there in the background just watching because it's really cool. But yeah, so with Andy, not being an on-course analyst role now, it's allowed me to work with other guys, such as Ned Michaels, who I've worked with the last couple of years, who this week for the Masters, he'll be covering the 15th hole. So that par 5 right there. And so you can listen to him on that. But he's one of the guys I work with, as well as Steve Scott. Steve Scott, a part of the amateur that faced off with Tiger Woods, and has a great book about his situation where Tiger was about to put his ball and almost forgot to mark it back, like he moved it, so he moved his coin so can have a putt like Tiger, so Steve could have his putt. And so you have to, put your putter down, mark the coin to your original spot or whatnot. Tiger was about to put his ball down or whatnot and didn't move his coin. And Steve was a good sportsman and told him, "Hey, you need to move your coin back." That would have cost him the amateur. And Steve probably would have won that. So people don't know that, but it's a cool story. But he's a great guy to work with, as well as some other ones like Carl Paulson as well, who's a part of Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio. So he's a great guy to work with as well. And Billy Kratzer, too, from time to time, work with him also. A legend in the golf world, too.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Wow. Yeah, that reminds me of the concession on the Ryder Cup that Nicklaus gave Tony Jacklin the putt to tie the Ryder Cup. And, I mean, he could have missed it. So we're all happy about that.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. I think we're all happy to see JJ Spaun win this weekend as well. He hadn't won since the U.S. Open. No top 25s since the U.S. Open. And he wins the only other PGA Tour event win he had besides the U.S. Open, the Valero Texas Open, and it came down to that 17th hole, that beautiful shot into the 17th to make eagle and go on to win.
Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty crazy because you had so much rain coming through San Antonio, and they've had a big drought or whatnot down there. It seems like, and now they're getting all this rain when they come to TPC San Antonio. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see JJ pull it out in the end, and he had to make an awesome up and down at 18, to maintain that lead in the clubhouse or whatnot. Some of the things that came out of that for me was just how, again, sort of the finishing struggles of Ludvig Åberg, and that's just sort of crept in to his game, to where he just can't finish out these tournaments where he's in ideal position. You feel like his game is coming around really well. Of course, he has a beautiful swing, can stripe it, and has a bunch of distance. But a lot of the times for him, it's his putting, But the thing that took Åberg down was his driving accuracy. He had a few loose drives that eventually cost him some bogeys or whatnot. So that's really what I got out of that from TPC San Antonio. And Robert MacIntyre, he was set up. He was playing really well and just couldn't make those finishing holes or whatnot to put him in position to win. So I think he had a final round 70 that day. But JJ Spaun loves the Texas Open. This is his second win there and everything, and trying to move forward now and try to get a second major.
Yeah, that was a good tournament to watch. Like Matthew Wallace, he finished like 2.5 hours before the leaders, and he was he had the clubhouse lead, and it looked like he might win it because the course was playing so hard. Like obviously 17 was an easy hole, but all the other holes were playing tough. Like the 18, which is like a par 5, people should birdie it. Nobody was birdieing it. Like even par was a great score there. And 16, man, that was so sad for MacIntyre because he hit it on the green, but on the other side of the bunker, he needed like to chip it on the green, and it was an impossible shot. He nearly pulled it off, but it was a costly bogey. Even though he eagled 17 on 18, he hit like a wayward 3-wood, and there was no chance of making birdie from where he was. And But very happy for JJ. I think the fact that he plays so well, like in these conditions, is like the U.S. Open or this tournament before, like speaks a lot about him and his toughness, his grit, and his self-belief. And I just need to try some tricks and irons, or I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Get you a big lab putter or whatnot. It looks
Yeah.
like a frying pan, but hey, it works for him. So yeah.
I know Fernando wanted to look at two shots in particular from MacIntyre and Åberg as well. So let's take a look at those. And then, Fernando, you can break it down for us here after we watch this.
Yeah.
This is one of his best swings of the day. Did he hit the number?
Yeah, that's a very nice effort there.
He's just smashed this thing. He's actually put a little bit more cut spin on this, right at it.
How good does this look? Oh, it landed there. Yeah, just beautiful shot. I mean,
Andrew, you mentioned the beautiful swing of Åberg. We saw it on display there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's just so, and whenever you see it in person too, it's even better. Like I would go to range sessions just to watch him and just see how he works the ball and how his body, is just so smooth, like through the hitting area. And it's just so compact on plane. You're just like, how doesn't this guy, win every single tournament almost? But yeah, it's great. Just if he can sort out, like, his short game has been going good. He had a few chip ins or whatnot that's helped him, but a lot of the times it's been the putting that's sort of let him down. So if he can sort that out right, I think he's been in position these last couple of years at the Masters, and he might be up there on Sunday.
Yeah, I think going back to these swings, both are hitting a fade here. And for me, the interesting part about this is that people think that if you're hitting a fade, it means that you're coming over the top. But as you look at these swings, they're both coming from the inside. They're both hitting it from the inside. But the thing that's making the ball fade is the swing path. So in the case of Robert McIntyre, he's swinging towards the right and without closing the face so much. So that's helping the fade. And in the case of Ludvig, like, he's also swinging left, and that's what the swing path is more important in the long game towards trajectory. But what I like about Ludwig's swing is his wrist flexibility. Like this, like people like flex their, after hitting the shot, they try to flex their wrist, but maybe they are stopped here. But Ludwig has more flexibility, and if you look at his swing after he hits it, it's like this, and that's why he hits it so long, and it's so hard to teach, like, those fast twitch muscles, like even like the knees, the elbows, those are like fast twitch muscles, and Ludwig has got so much flexibility there.
We'll see what he does at the Masters. I think he's like the fourth best odds to win, and he's been there contention before. So we'll see how he does there. But great way to start off Masters week, as always, is the Augusta Women's Amateur, and Maria José
Marin.
was a great story this year. She was inspired by Maria Fassi, who won a couple of years ago, and then Maria Fassi came and watched her finish and win the thing.
I've watched Marin. I worked for NBC during the U.S. Women's Amateur a few years back at Southern Hills, and I did spotting there for Julia Johnson and Amelia Duran, who does a lot of great on-course analyst roles or whatnot, and so got to watch her game and everything like that. And yeah, she was excellent. I think that week at that she came away with a it might have been an illness or something like that, or an injury, and so it was unfortunate. I'm trying to recall now, but yeah, she was just excellent all around. Her short game was tremendous. Approach, shots gained there was great. So good for her. Great win. Of course, a lot of people were hoping to see Astris Talley, who just a tremendously young talent, and I got to watch Astris too at Southern Hills, and she came up with a runner-up finish there, and so yeah, and you can see her disappointment in the end, and having that double bogey that cost her that one in the end. But yeah, it was good.
Triple bogey.
Yeah, yeah. Number 12 will get you in any way possible. It could be the creek, initially on your tee box, but people don't think about it too. When you go deep on number 12, you've got to get some height to your shot to keep it not running off and going into Race Creek. And so unfortunately, Astros hit two bunker shots that just came out low and couldn't stop. And so that cost her the tournament.
Bryson was there and gave her some great advice too. It doesn't matter, move on. There'll be more great chances to win. So good to see the support of the other golfers out there too.
Yeah, that's just tremendous right there for someone like Bryson. To tell her, he's been in those spots. He's felt the disappointment that comes along with the ups and downs of golf. It's just great, and that's only going to help her in the future. She's so talented, can strike the ball well. She's gonna win. She's gonna win one. So.
Yeah, and what a great name, like Asterisk.
Mm-hmm.
And she was tallying up the birdies, definitely the favorite to win. But that was reminiscing of like Tiger's 10 at 12 for Francisco Jordan's doubles bogeys, and it was so sad to watch. But Marin was so inspirational, the first Latin American to win this tournament. Mm-hmm. One of my friend's sister was there playing as well, Clarissa Temelo, who she won like the Latin American Amateur Championship this year. And so very happy for Majo, and fellow Mexican Maria Fassi showing a lot of sportsmanship, showing up for her win. She was Majo's greatest inspiration, because there was another Colombian famous golfer, Maria José Uribe, but Majo Marin didn't get to see her live, and very happy for Maria for being there for her. And I think both Asterix and Maria have a bright future ahead.
Fernando, our in-house Latin American golfer insider. Thank you, Fernando, for all the insight there. Let's get into the tee times. For rounds 1 and 2, there are some awesome groupings out there for the first 2 rounds. What are our favorite groups? I will start with mine. And this is just major champions like crazy. Jordan Spieth, Justin Rose, and Brooks Koepka in one. And you have Justin Rose trying to win the Masters. He's been in contention pretty much every time he goes there. And Brooks, who's playing a good form, and Spieth, who's also won at Augusta, and his game fits that course.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of good ones. The ones that stick out to me are that with Åberg and Goddard and Rahm. I think that one's going to be phenomenal. And I think being here from Oklahoma, I'm a big fan of Chris Goddard and his game, and this is first time at Augusta, and so you never know how their first time out there, how they're going to fare. But he's got the game, he's got the distance. I think if his putter's doing well, I think he'll be first page of the leaderboard. I really do. So he's got a great shot. Of course, that group of Scottie and Bobby MacIntyre and Gary Woodland, the awesome story of Gary Woodland, just amazing with him getting that win and everything like that. So I think that group's going to be great. And then you follow that up with Bryson, along with Matthew Fitzpatrick, Xander Schauffele. I mean, that's going to be great. Matthew Fitzpatrick is a quick guy on the course, and he's certainly given his complaints for slow play and everything like that. Well, Xander doesn't necessarily go the quickest.
No.
And so it'll be interesting to see how all that fares out or whatnot, and having Bryson there too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think if Oklahoma's Chris Goddard wins, it's gonna have an asterisk because Taylor Gucci is not in the field.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still, I think I was looking at the forecast, and it looks like there's not going to be any rain this week. So it doesn't really matter if you're playing in the morning or in the afternoon, one day or another. But this course is so long, man, like 7,500 yards, almost sea level. And I was looking at the humidity percentage. It's going to be around like 50% each week, which for me is really high. Where I live here in Mexico is way more dry. So the ball like flies a lot. Like today, I mean, I hit a 380-yard drive because it was like downwind and it's the altitude, you know. But these guys, they hit it like they would hit it like 480 here. So I think for me, like this week, you're gonna need like a long hitter for this course. So I'm looking at like Dustin or like Marco Pence, something like that, to surprise with their length.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think, length certainly is big, like for the Masters, and just being how long it is and how far they've extended holes throughout the years or whatnot to just be a part of the modern technology and everything. So yeah, but weather-wise, yeah, it's going to be perfect. And from what I've heard so far, like conditions-wise, it's going to be tough as far like pretty dry and not. You're going to have a lot of approach shots where you're uh, going to have to recognize that first bounce and just how hard it's going to be, because this course is, it's an angle course. You want to hit your drives to particular angles and have good approaches to the hole. It's really an approach situation right there to try to get the ball close. So seeing how these guys are going to manage that with their distances and everything, don't think the wind is going to be too much of a factor, but weather-wise, I mean, you're going to be in mid-70s for the first 2 days, and then it's going to get even hotter, like Saturday and Sunday, like in the 80s. So you really can't complain with the conditions. I think it's going to be a perfect setup.
There's a lot of great holes at Augusta, but we're going to make each one of us choose one. And I will go with 12 first. Just crazy par 3. You never know what's going to happen with Rays Creek right there. And I think it's cool too. It's like that green in the 13th tee is also close to patrons. So it's like, I heard a lot of golfers talk about it this week in the press conference. That's kind of their like time to themselves where they can like refocus mentally, recenter themselves. So I think that's just really cool part of the course is that par 3, 12th part of Amen Corner, which always decides a tournament on Sundays, as we know.
Yeah, definitely. Golden Bell is, it turns the tide for the tournament. Whenever you get to Amen Corner, you're dealing with 10, which is a rough one. Then you get to 11, which you're most of the time a lot of folks are bailing out right or whatnot, and so that's a tough one to try to make a run at. And then you get to 12, and a lot of people, with Golden Bell on 12, you've seen instances where all that hole is factoring in the wind and seeing how the wind is from the pines from the top. You could have the flag on 11 blowing and whipping a little bit, and then where 12 sits at that green over there, the flag's not moving at all. And so caddies have to factor in, are we going to take into account the wind that's coming from 11, or are we just going to say, it's not blowing around there? So, yeah. And of course, you have what's crazy is on that hole, there hasn't been an ace on that hole since 1988.
Crazy.
And I think if I remember right, they mentioned this on Anwa as one of the golfers almost hit a hole in one on number 12. I think it was Paul Azinger who was the last one in '88, which to me it's just crazy. With all the great golfers that have been through, you would think that someone would have to hit a hole, in however many years, so almost 40 or whatnot. But yeah, 12 is excellent hole.
Yeah, I think that Scott talked about this, how in 12 there's something called the eddy effect, which is like a whirlwind, so you can never guess the wind, what's going on there. So it's like our luck, like a draw. And I think it would be better if 12th hole was the 18th hole, because that means like there's no safe lead. Obviously, the 18 is a hard hole,
Yeah.
especially if you put the pin on the back right, but it's nowhere near as hard as the 12th. And I think it would lead up to more drama. Maybe have the last three, the 10, 11, and 12, maybe like change the routing so it would be like 16, 17, and 18. Maybe would be more interesting. But I mean, I'm not gonna argue with Alistair McKenzie or whatever. But I think it'll be more exciting.
Big hole this week. It's the first Masters without Tiger and Phil since 1994. 8 green jackets between the two of them, but both have their own personal issues going on. So we wish them the best, but certainly a big hole to have two legends not there this week.
Yeah, definitely. That's crazy to even think about not seeing any Tiger and Phil on the leaderboard anywhere, and just some of the shots that they've made over the years. You just recall those a lot. With Mickelson making in '04 his birdie there or whatnot, and to win it, and his shot on 13, in the pines, and everything was amazing. So yeah, it's unfortunate and everything, and but there a lot of the things. One other thing too to think about is this will be the last tournament for José María Olazabal. And everything. A legend like him, you think about guys just coming through and whatnot, and so I had him on my mind too. It's going to be neat to see him walking up 18 and the applause that he's going to get and whatnot there. And I failed to mention my favorite hole on that last.
Man.
For me, I'm going to say I'm probably going to go with 13. I love the setup here where you have to draw it around. I love the decision making you have to take, whether it's go for it or not. And so you've had a lot of momentum swings there. So wanted to throw that out.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 15 for my favorite hole, because even at like 70 yards out, like you can still triple that hole. So I think that's beautiful. But you can eagle it as well. Like Rory, well, he didn't eagle it, but it was a great opportunity there.
For sure. Speaking of Rory, what comes to mind when you think back about his win for the Grand Slam last year? You just saw the relief on his face going down to his knees after making the putt in the playoff against Justin Rose. And then I don't even know how to explain his walk off the green there, but he was going through a lot of emotions. Well, what comes to mind when you think back about Rory's win last year?
Man, for me, it was just how I was wondering just how in the world he was able to compose himself on those last couple holes and not lose that tournament. Because I mean, it was looking really bad, and that awesome documentary on Amazon Prime was just amazing. Just going through all the scenarios that he had in certain situations. You think about number 7 hitting his drive left and deciding away from his caddy.
What a shot
to try to go up top and everything with that. And what's crazy too, and people don't think about it, like he didn't putt that well on that round. Like he was like negative So I've looked this up. Like over the last 5 Masters tournaments, the winners have had, of course, positive strokes gained putting. Well, Rory had a negative strokes gained putting that week, which is crazy. And of course, that final round, like he had that opportunity on 7 after that crazy shot. He left it short.
He had 4 doubles that week.
Yeah, and somehow, some way, he makes back-to-back birdies on 9 and 10, and then he goes, he gets to number 13, and that's of all the holes where he has a 4-shot lead. He decides to break out a 3-wood, get in play, hit an 8-iron up close, and just hit a wedge up close. Well, I think everyone in the whole world just dropped their jaw at once at him dumping it into Rays Creek and just fatting it and everything and coming away with a double there. We're like, oh man, here we go again. This is 2011 once again. And I'm sure he had all those thoughts swirling in his mind and everything. And to come up with the shot like he did at number 15, I mean, that's just like Jim Nance said. I mean, that's once in a lifetime.
And the shot on 17, like if it was 1 yard shorter, he would have made a bogey there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and that's a diabolical green right there. 17. 17 is probably one of my most underrated holes at Augusta, and they're actually stretching out that hole 10 to 12 more yards, I think, off the tee. So it's going to make it a little bit longer, I think, at 450 yards. But yeah, so
that's where Kenny Terry lost it.
Yeah, he could have. He definitely could have. But to do what he did and just seeing the leaderboard, flip flop, and with Rose coming on and him birdieing 18 and everything. Pressure was on, but Rory did his thing and came away with it, which was phenomenal to get his Grand Slam.
I put this out to the YouTube community, which we love our fans, but they were not having this. They all said no, Rory cannot repeat. Only 3 have done it. Tiger was the last to do it in the 2000, 2001. What do we think? Any chance for Rory? I mean, it looks like he's enjoying the week a little too much, maybe. I don't know, but I mean, he is the best. He is the past champion, so you can enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he got there early, to catch Anwa and watch that go down, and so he's been at the property now for a while, and yeah, he's not coming off the greatest form coming into this one. Last year, he was coming off great form coming into it, so you wonder, how he's going to be. How is he going to be physically? He's dealt with a back issue, and so that's pulled him out of tournaments, and so he's dealt with that. But I think, with all of his experience and everything, I think he'll, now that you have that first Masters in the bag, that you may be able to freewheel it and have a little more sense of relief or whatnot, like on the course, to where you can maybe be a little more aggressive and see what you can do right there. But I think he has a chance, being his odds, I'm sure, in the top 5 or whatnot. So yeah,
he's the 4th favorite after Scottie, Bryson, and Rahm, and he definitely has a chance. I think it can either go both ways for him. Either he wins by a record like 20 shots, or he misses the cut. Like, he's so relaxed this week. Like, he's on cloud 9. He's coming back as a champion. Like, he has no pressure at all. Like, it used to be like every year the same thing. Like, when is finally Rory gonna win? And now he's not the story anymore. I think he's happy about that, and I think it could work out well for him.
It is an even year, so does that mean Scottie Scheffler wins? He won in 2022, 2024, and the odds are for him this week, plus 500 as the betting favorite. But he is another one, just like Rory, who hasn't played in a couple of weeks because he had the birth of his son Remy. So maybe, coming in with that new dad perspective and tears up the course this week. Who knows?
Yeah, it really is up in the air. Like with Scottie, it feels like, and it seems like, I mean, over this year we've seen more of a temperament to Scottie. Like with how he acts after bad shots or bad putts or whatnot, doing a Woody Austin, fist pump after missing, and having a second child now, you just wonder, just naturally as a human, where he's at mentally right now or whatnot. Is he getting a lot of sleep, with the new kid, you worry about that. But, he is a winner this year. He won at the Amex. And so you just, you can't count Scottie out. You really can't. And having a guy like Ted Scott on the bag, they've been here. They know everything about the course, and you'll just see. I'm curious to see how his form will be. But yeah, he definitely has a great chance to win it.
Yeah, I mean, he won at the Amex. He was close at Phoenix, the AT&T. I think it's by far the favorite. And I mean, I would love to see him win. I think at this point he just wins for Meredith. He just wants to get like home points so he can keep playing because obviously Meredith is taking care of the kids, and she's great. I mean, you can see her competitiveness in her eyes too. Like it looks more like Meredith is winning more than Scottie. And Scottie, like, I don't think he cares at all, but that's what makes him great. That's why he wins, because he's just like playing like a kid and just listening to Ted and just trying to get out of his own way. That's when he plays his best. And I think he would be happily surprised to win again, and maybe try to make this year in winning maybe for all of them.
Yeah, Meredith married to the best golfer in the world, so I think she's happy about that. How about live golfer with the best chance? Bryson and Rahm coming in with the best form. Bryson back-to-back wins on live. Rahm had a win this year, and Cam Smith, who also plays really well at Augusta, but still doesn't have a win there. Of these three, who do you think has the best chance?
I think you definitely have to go with Bryson. I mean, just right now with his form, and having won back-to-back tournaments on live, everything from last year for him, what he needs to sort out is his iron play, and his approaches. And so that's what cost him last year. And so if he can get that sorted out, of course he has the distance and everything with his driver and long game or whatnot. So if he can have his approaches better, and get some good shots gained there, then I think he's going to be sitting up top, I think, to try to win it again. And of course with Rahm, his form recently has been doing better. Of course he's come away with a win on live recently, too. But for me, I'm curious just on his putting at Augusta, whether that will be there for him. So yeah. But I'm going to go with Bryson on this. Cam Smith, of course, over the years he's done well at Augusta, but just, man, since he's ever gotten to live, it just seems like it's just gone downhill, just with everything. But he is a great putter. We know that. So who knows? He may have a chance. We'll see. But I'm going to go with Bryson.
Yeah, it's a tough one between Bryson and Rahm. Having watched all of Leafs season events, I think they're just toe to toe, head to head. Like they could even win without their best game this week. Both of them, they hit it so long. They shoot under par every single time, and so it's like a coin toss between two of them. And Cam Smith, we all love to see him back. He said he's not done with just one major, where he beat Rory at the Open with a great back nine, but I think he would need to have like a record putting performance to win this because the course is so long.
Let's go with some names that no one's really talking about under the radar to win. And I don't know if this is under the radar for the Masters, but there's not a whole lot of people talking about Patrick Reed right now. I think Patrick Reed won twice on the DP World Tour. His other one that he could have won, he lost in a playoff, and he won there in 2018. He had a top 3 finish last year, top 10 the 2 years before that. And he said he gets emotional every time he comes and plays Augusta. So I think he just loves playing there. I would go with him. And we talked about Gary Woodland. I think, he's been inspiring a lot of people this year with his win in Houston. I think he might have a chance to win as well. He's a great ball striker and good iron player. Especially we saw he switched those iron shafts, and that's what helped him get some more club speed to win in Houston. I think that could help him at Augusta.
Yeah, I really like that Patrick Reed mention or whatnot. Former winner, 2-time DP World winner this season. He's had other top 5 finishes as well. Last year he did miss the cut there, but he's playing a lot better. His plan now, trying to transition back to the PGA Tour or whatnot. So yeah, I think he could be around in it, but definitely I would say a long horse or a dark horse in this one, being I think around 44-1 for his odds. So that's a good one to take right there.
And who do you think is under the radar?
So under the radar for me, I would have to go with. I'm deciding between a few guys, but I think just with this long game, I'm gonna go with Chris Gotterup.
Okay,
I'm gonna go with Gotterup. I really do. I know I have a bias. I'll admit that or whatnot, but I mean, just with how he's done just over these last couple of years and the distance that he's able to create and everything like that, I think he'll be able to shape shots around the course pretty well and put in like specific trajectories like off the tee to put in play. And if he can keep his putting going, I think has a long chance at it. I really do. But look for him. Who knows? Maybe a Victor Hovland. A guy like Victor who's been around, who's put a lot of top 10s in and everything. He could be under the radar to go at it. But I'm going to go with Gotterup this time.
Hey, not many first-time golfers at the Masters have won 4 times coming in. So,
yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. And it is nervy to think about, like, this will be his first time there, playing the course. But you never know, man. I think he's got the game for it.
Oh, yeah. you got some Fernando, I know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I love Sanjay for this week. I think he's under the radar a little bit. Maybe a bit further down the list. I think I like Hao Tong Lee because he plays well in the big tournaments. He qualified for this tournament by finish top 4 at the Open last year. Mm-hmm. He recently made a hole-in-one in a simulator. I think I've seen enough. I'm picking him.
There we go. I don't know, Fernando. I don't know if you want to pick this. You say because you don't want to pick somebody to lose, but golfers to fade this week. And I think I was going to pick JJ Spaun until he won this last week, but I'm going to go with another U.S. Open champion who hasn't really done much since winning the U.S. Open, Wyndham Clark. He hasn't done much since he won the U.S. Open, so I don't think he has a chance this week.
Yeah, Wyndham hits it so long, but yeah, it's been a bit weird that he hasn't played better. But yeah, I don't want to root against anybody. Like why would I?
Wyndham, for him, it's his struggles have been squarely on his putting. He's been like dead last, like in shots gained putting, and if you know Wyndham, he's a tinkerer, and he's almost been switching putters every single tournament this season, if you follow him along. But yeah, he's definitely someone to fade right there. That's a good one, I think. For me, I would say, um, I I just don't think like I'm thinking of guys like Kepka, of course, who's just sort of getting back to PGA Tour and everything. I just don't know how he'll, even with the odds that he has and everything. I just don't know whether he'll be in contention is to have his game right there. Colin Morikawa, he's been struggling with his back and just trying to get back in um, to play consistently and do a good job. Of course, he won at Pebble Beach and everything, and that was a great win. But his back still isn't 100%, I think. So, yeah, he's definitely someone to fade, even though he has an excellent iron game.
Let's get right into your picks, Andrew. Maybe some positivity. We're talking about golfers to fade. Let's do ones to actually win the tournament. Andrew's 3 picks. Andrew Shepard, that's a good one. 3 top 10s in this Masters tournament coming in. Scottie, of course, we talked about him. The 2 wins in even years. And Cam Young, who won the Players this year and in his best form coming in too as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Xander's ultimately my pick outright to win. I just think with his game and how good he is on his approach shots, that's what this course is all about. Of course, putting is too, but it's fitting the ball in those particular angles and having good approach shots to these greens. So for him, previous results, he's been close. He's been second place a few years ago, third place. He's had a lot of top 10s before, so he's right in the thick of it. And I think he could win it this week. Of course, I'm taking Scottie Scheffler. I'm not going to count Scottie out. I just really can't, even though he's had, I guess, some recent struggles over the last couple of weeks or whatnot and everything. But got to go with Scottie. And then close is going to be Cam Young. I think with him getting his win that he had at the Players Championship, he's got a lot of momentum, and I think a lot of folks are going to take him this week to be sort of an under the radar type pick. He is at 23-1, but he has had a few top 10s. He missed the cut last year, and then 2 top 10s before that. So he's currently ranked, I think, right around 7 in the world. So those are going to be my picks to try to win Masters this week.
I'm with you on the Xander train and the Cam Young train. Xander, 2-time major champion, playing well at Augusta. Let's give him a 3rd major. And Justin Rose, his name is Rose. He deserves the flowers for his performances at the Masters. He's runner-up 3 times, twice lost in a playoff. Sergio and then Rory last year. He always plays well. And at the young age of 41, I think he could still win a green jacket, just seeing how well he plays there every year. So I'm on the Justin Rose train as well. Fernando, let's get into your favorites here.
Yeah, you're right. Justin's bound to win here just because of his name.
Yes.
Like I say, Sanjay, he has the iron game to win. He played great at the Valspar, and he has the best smile on tour. And John Rahm and Scottie, I think they could provide us like a great battle. Like we deserve a great battle, and maybe like John Rahm beat Koepka a few years ago. Maybe this year he can go head to head with Scottie, and I think that would be my favorite thing. Like a back 9, Rahm and Scottie running away from the field.
Well, we would all be tuning in for that. Scottie Scheffler, John Rahm playoff maybe at to end things out, or
Yes.
last group on Sunday. I think we would all tune in for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love that.
Well, Andrew, we appreciate you coming on this week for our Masters preview. Of course, we'll have you come on as well. Going into the PGA Championship, that's your bread and butter, as we talked about at the beginning of this show, with some fun PGA Championship stories. So make sure if you're getting to the end of this episode and you didn't see the beginning, make sure you go back, listen to some of those great stories as well. And like and subscribe to the channel for weekly episodes as well. Andrew, we loved having you on, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I love talking golf and everything. This is the best week of the year. So you guys enjoy it. Have all your pimento sandwiches, your azalea drinks, and everything like that. So have fun.
We'll be posted up on Sunday in front of a TV. So that'll be the best Sunday in golf on the calendar year. So
absolutely.
We look forward to it all. Hopefully all our picks win. And we'll see you next Tuesday for the post-Masters show. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Andrew. We won't be wearing any white overalls, though.
Good.
All right, guys. Have a great week, everybody.
You too. Bye.
See you.